and let you guys know if it's just another generic plot line and going to be a waste of your time, or if it's well worth it for the season and time you've wasted. Let's jump into it. Just gonna have to go with it, brother.
All right, take two. What's going on? I'm Zordon.
And I'm the Misfit.
And we're the Anime
Hunters. Today we'll be taking a mid-season dive into some popular anime from winter 2023.
We'll give our first impressions on animation, story, plot, and we'll let you know if it's just another generic plot line or if it's worth your time diving into the anime. Let's jump into it.
So the first anime we're going to be bringing to you guys today is going to be Bungo Stray Dogs. And Bungo Stray Dogs has some great animation. It gives an older vibe. It was brought to us by Studio Bones, which is highly touted as one of the top animation studios in our space here. It's going to be 45 plus episodes. So if you haven't gotten into it, it's going to be a great long watch if you're looking for something that's a bit longer. If you've already gotten into it, great, we're here. And I hope you've started the 4th season with me because it's been a great ride. We've gotten to see a lot more just past experiences of the detective agency, who is the center organization of the animation. Rampo, who is their detective, and he kind of smoothed things out between their agency and the police force. But he's the main breadwinner for the agency, why they're not bankrupt. And we get to see a lot more about him. So if he's one of your favorite characters, if you've already gotten into it, it's going to be a great season to get into if you want to learn a little bit more about the agency and him in general. And again, if you haven't got into it, I think it's a great anime to get into, and it's going to keep you for a while.
If you like Food Wars, then you'll love Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skills. This isekai follows the adventures of our main character, Mukoto Tsuyoshi. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I won't fix that in the edit. Our main character, Mukoto Tsuyoshi, the cook. Our main character, the cook. The cook gets transported to another world where he figures out that his friends that gets transported, they have these insane powers. One's a mage, another is a warlock, and another is, I think he's a soldier. Some sort with a sword and shield. He's a knight. That's what they're called. But this guy, he comes in and he's like, I got no powers. He has the power of online grocery. And in this adventure, he's going to use the power of online grocery to cook a lot of cool and dope food that will make you hungry. I definitely recommend checking this out if you love the food in Food Wars and how it's presented. Animation looks great. Music was okay. But other than that, it's another generic isekai with a weird quirk. Next.
Now we're going to bring, Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, or Danmachi for short. This is actually one of my top 10 anime. It's been very special to me. I've been watching since season 1, and we're now in season 4. If you haven't watched it before, another longer anime that can take up a good bit of your time if you want to get into something of that nature, but not be too long. And then it centers on a man named Bel Crenel, who wants to be a hero, basically, and his journey in the dungeons and finding and picking up females. You know, he's the man, if I'm being honest. But this new season actually centers a lot more on the dungeon. What brought me into it season 1. We're getting a lot more this season and a lot of character development in general throughout his team, and just seeing how they can grow with him and not hold him back in the future. Probably the biggest issue I've had with the season is they took a big break halfway through, but we're back now and I've been loving every second of it. I highly recommend this one for anybody I talk to. And if you're a big fan of Ryu, and if you haven't watched it, Ryu Leon, she's an elf that is friends with Belle. A lot of the season focuses on her and her backstory, and we get to learn a lot more about her. She's been a very mysterious character throughout the first 3 seasons, but definitely a very interesting character that we would like to get more of, and I'm very happy that we got more in this season in the way we have.
If you like season 1 of Vinland Saga, then you'll love the adventures of season 2, as we picked off where the end of season 1, Thorfinn's going through some things, and at the beginning of season 2, he's on a farm. We're going, the character, animation, and the music, all solid. I will say season 1 is very fast paced, whereas season 2 seems to take a step back. We're not traveling to as many locations in season 2. Everything seems to take place on a farm, so you better be ready to chop down some trees with Thorfinn for season 2.
Next, we're going to more of a newer anime. It's going to be The Misfit of Demon King Academy. We're in the second season. Was a big hit last year, and we're already getting a second one. That's how you know it was going pretty well for them. It only has about 19 episodes. Probably going to end up being with another 12 or 13 episode season. But so far, it's been very good. A lot of mind games and mystery. The main character, Anos Goldie Gold, is like the strongest demon lord ever, is the premise. And we don't get to see him really flex his powers as much in the first season, although it was a great watch with beautiful animation. You get to see that a little more now, along with his past and certain things that have happened. And we see a little bit more about how the laws of the world really work with him and magic, and just more parameters on what makes their world tick, really. The main issue I probably have with it is sometimes it can be hard to follow. You may be in a flashback or something of that nature, and sometimes the storyline gets a little wonky if you're not paying too much attention. So definitely something that you'll want to be weary of, or at least have in your mind when you start the series, if you guys do. But it's definitely a great watch. I don't think it's like one of the best stories ever, but for OP characters especially, and I just love magic in general, it's a very enjoyable watch. And there's a little bit of romance, which we don't typically get too much into. A lot of times they don't hit the pedal on that, but there's been a lot throughout the first season and now. So it may be another caveat for some of you folks that haven't got into it yet.
Nier Automata, the anime, is a supplement to the video game that came out with the same name. Please check it out if you have seen the game. It's very solid. I will say the music's solid, animation's pretty good, but there is a quip with CGI used in the battle scenes or any action scenes. Whenever there are robots involved, they are all made of CGI, and they take away from the experience of watching the show. I hated any CGI that I saw on that. I felt like it was cheap. It was not properly executed, and it's a little bit too in your face. If you have played the video game, do check this one out. If you have not, I would not supplement this anime for the video game. Definitely go to the Nier Automata video game. I do not recommend this for the general public.
So the next anime we're going to hit you guys with is going to be Bofuri. I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense. This is going to have a female lead, so for all you folks out there that like to have a strong female protagonist, that's what we got here. We got two of them in Maple and Sally. It's more so about gaming. It's like slice of life comedy type show, but we don't really get to see real world as much. We got to a little bit in first season, spoiler if you haven't, but we get to see a little bit, but for the most part it takes place inside of the gaming world, and it's a lot of lighthearted fun. There's no big obstacles or anything like that. We just get to get in there and game, like everyone likes to do. And we get to see a lot of Maple's growth as it being her first game, but the other protagonist, Sally, is actually a pro gamer who has accolades after accolades. And so we get to see the dynamic of them starting a brand new game in VR together, and just the way Maple can grow and kind of approach where Sally is. But on a con side of things, we do tend to get to a point where they kind of hold Sally back a bit. And obviously because Maple is in fact the main character, and there's just such good comedy in it. We get to see a lot of how the developers can't deal with the way she's using the game, because she uses her powers in a way that it kind of breaks the game, and she has glitches. So you get that fun aspect of making the devs mad, and their reactions and how mad they are about how they're trying to stop her and come up with the gay way that she can't beat the game. It's just an overall good time. I definitely recommend it if you're a big gamer, because that's all I think about, adventuring in the game, and that's literally all she's doing. She's just living for the adventure of the game. No big enemies or issues. It's just a fun time.
Right. An honorable mention I would like to add to this list is The Legend of Vox Machina. Although it's not a regular Japanese anime, it is heavily influenced by Japanese animation, and it has a kick-ass cast of English voice actors that carry the show. It takes place within a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. YouTube channel Critical Role basically had a group of voice actors go together, make a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and they broadcasted it through YouTube, through Twitch. This animation is just a culmination of that adventure. They take the best parts of the adventure and they gave us a great little show with it. Definitely check this out if you like Dungeons and Dragons, good animation, as well as just adventure. It's a different take in an adventure as different isekais. It's very fun to watch. I binged it right away as soon as I saw it. Very gory. I will say it's very gory, very vulgar. Most of the show is based on the actual adventures that they had in the campaign that they broadcasted on YouTube and Twitch. Do check them out if you're interested. Check the show out. We'll have their information below.
For our last selection today, we are going to be going over Trigun Stampede. Now, before I actually started watching the new one, I was with some of the folks who the old one is very near and dear to my heart. I'm a 90s baby. I grew up with it. Vash is just the man in my eyes. He's just too good. And the whole recreation of it, I didn't know how I would feel about it. But after getting into it, it actually follows the manga a lot more closely than the original. And the animation was a little bit for me to get to. It's more cartoony and like CGI looking, very poppy. But even after I started, I've grown to actually like the animation a lot more. And with the way that the story's hitting, it's coming in a completely different way. So it's like a brand new story from what we had before, as opposed to just making a crappy little remake. It's been a great ride so far. One con that I really didn't like at first, but the character's growing on me, is if you watch the old one, there was a character, Millie. She has now been replaced by a male role named Robert De Niro. And I think it's just amazing that they threw Robert De Niro and Vash the Stampede, especially when it's like a gun-toting like space western. So I definitely recommend you get into it if you've kind of been on the fence. I don't think you'll be mad that you hopped off.
These are some of the most popular anime of the season. If we missed anything at all, please post your thoughts down below in the comments section.
And make sure you smash that like button if you enjoyed today's video. We promise there's much more content to come. What anime should we hunt next? Thank you again for watching and happy hunting. He only has his glasses on when he's talking. What the fuck is this?